Palantir Technologies is one of the best performing stocks in the market in 2024. It's up a whopping 320% year to date as of this recording. But will it have a similar year in 2025? And should investors buy Palantir stock for 2025? That's the question I'm going to answer in this video, looking at the company's prospects ahead, comparing it against its valuation, measuring it on a forward price to earnings basis, looking at my discounted cash flow valuation model for Palantir stock, and other valuation methods to determine if Palantir makes sense in terms of risk versus reward for long-term investors buying in 2025 or buying ahead of 2025. So let's take a look.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
I mentioned already Palantir stock price absolutely soaring up 320% year to date in 2024. And it's been an incredible story. The stock price jumping even more after October. It was already up 120% up until October, and then it jumped another 200% since then. And after the election, of course, Palantir stock caught yet another tailwind, jumping even higher still. Now, one of the most attractive things about Palantir for me is the company's expansion into U.S. enterprises. U.S. commercial revenue grew 54% in its latest quarter, and it was up 13% from the previous quarter. I've been talking about Palantir for several years now and how excellent it is in terms of its relationships with U.S. government institutions. But what's been more impressive is its expansion into U.S. enterprises. I say that it's been more impressive because that's the market it needed to crack open in order to open up a bigger opportunity. There's only so much government institutions it can expand into, right? There's a limited amount of governments, especially governments friendly to the United States. And so if Palantir wanted to grow really big, it needed to make progress into businesses. And lately, they've been demonstrating that. Their strategy of going into these businesses, their AIP, demonstrating what they can offer, has opened up that market opportunity. Businesses previously were hesitant to hire Palantir because of how expensive their services are. They're best in class, right? Arguably, nobody even approaches the type of AI services that Palantir can offer businesses. But the sticking point was price. Can businesses afford this service? And while Palantir went into the business and showed them what they can do, that increased the budget for businesses, what they're willing to pay, because they're noticing what Palantir can offer. So this is the part of Palantir's business I'm most excited about in the future. So looking over the past 5 years of data that we have for Palantir, I should say closer to 4 years of data that we have for Palantir, you can see growth across the various critical financial inputs: revenue, operating income, and cash flow from operations. Revenue has jumped up to $2.6 billion, up from around $1.3 billion in 2020. Meanwhile, cash flow from operations has jumped to $994 million, up from a negative number in 2021 on a trailing 12-month basis. And a similar story with operating income, which increased to $365 million, up from a negative number in 2020. So Palantir performing well across the important categories of revenue, profit, and cash flow from operations. Looking ahead, the analysts on Wall Street that are following Palantir stock, they expect the company to continue with robust growth in free cash flow, forecasting a number of $980 million in free cash flow for 2024, $1.17 billion for 2025, $1.55 billion for 2026, $2 billion for 2027, and $2.83 billion in 2028. So significant increases, almost tripling in free cash flow from 2024 to 2028 is expected for Palantir Technologies over the next several years. Looking at Palantir's valuation over the last 3 years, It's now trading at a forward price to earnings of 152.44. That's really expensive. That's roughly 6 or 7 times the average stock in the S&P 500 in terms of a forward price to earnings ratio. Now, when I look at my discounted cash flow valuation model for Palantir stock, that gave me an intrinsic value per share of around $29 per share. Now, that's compared to the current market price of $72. And I'm even giving Palantir a long-term growth rate of 16% for the year 2030 to infinity. And so even though I'm evaluating this company's future cash flows at a growth rate of 16%, it's still giving me an intrinsic value per share of just $29. However, this assumption makes a big difference. If instead of 16%, I give it an 18% long-term growth rate, that would bring the intrinsic value per share back up to $76, which would be above the current market price. So these estimates and assumptions make big differences in the valuations forecasted using the discounted cash flow valuation model. When I looked at Palantir stock using another valuation method, which is looking at the earnings per share expected for the fiscal year 2026 and applying the forward PE multiple, I came to a conclusion of a price target in 2025 for Palantir in the range of $66 to $71 per share. So while Palantir is an excellent business opening up a new category that can offer billions more in revenue and billions more in cash flow and operating income, the valuation for Palantir stock is stretched. And I looked at the valuation several different ways, and I come to a similar conclusion regardless of the method I use to value Palantir stock. And the conclusion is that Palantir stock is too expensive. It's already incorporating very much of those excellent prospects in the future. It's already incorporating it, more than incorporating it, into the price today. Now, I know this is going to be an unpopular opinion because Palantir is one of the most popular stocks in the market, but I'm not trying to win a popularity contest. I'm just trying to give you my financial analysis on a business. So my analysis for Palantir is that it's an excellent business with great prospects in the future for revenue, profits, and cash flow. However, the price that the company is selling for is too rich. And so my conclusion, should you buy Palantir stock before 2025? I would say the answer is no. Now, this might change if Palantir stock price were to fall significantly and you get a better entry. That would change my opinion. But for now, at current prices, I would say Palantir stock is not a buy before 2025. Hey everyone, if you like watching my videos, then I've added a great complimentary product just for you. I've created a book, I've written a book that's available for sale now that highlights my 6-step investing framework. Even if you don't follow that investing framework, just reading it and knowing how I evaluate stocks will make it a lot more interesting and informative to watch my videos. I've added the link in the description below.